I am going to die. This singular truth has confronted me my entire life. And in fact, it's the reason why I'm standing before you today. Because if it wasn't the truth, then I would have chosen a life much more focused on temporal goods. But it is true. However, it's more true than just me. The truth is, all of us one day will die. How do you reconcile that in your mind? In a more religious society, people turn to faith to find answers, and discussions surround ideas about the soul and heaven and God and what one believes in these three things. In our more secular society, we tend to avoid the issue altogether. We whitewash our language. We don't say funerals, we say celebrations of life. Or some don't have either of those at all. We make empty statements like they're in a better place without asking the real questions. What is that place? How do you know they're there? Or sometimes we refuse to look at it altogether. In 2020, the Cremated Association of North America estimated that 2 million cremated remains of loved ones were never picked up from the funeral homes by their families. They were dropped off and totally forgotten. All of this taken together suggesting an unwillingness to face the most profound truth of human existence. I am going to die. To which must follow a very obvious question. What does that mean for me? And if we won't ask this question, then we can never understand the mission for which Jesus Christ was sent, because he came to earth precisely to issue God's response to this event. Now, you probably noticed the readings all centered around death as their primary issue. So wisdom says, God did not make death, nor does he rejoice in the destruction of the living. That's not to mean that creation was never going to die. I mean, after all, spiders have fangs for a reason. But that there is this coherence to God's ecology in creation, that it's maintained in a delicate balance, and that balance is always ordered toward life. But as wisdom states, that changed due to the envy of the devil. That system became upset. There's chaos in the ecology. For example, it's like the body, right? Every organ, every system of the body is ordered and structured for our well-being and ordered towards biological life. But an autoimmune disease can totally disrupt that. And suddenly, the immune system is attacking other organs, making life as the intended goal difficult to achieve. And this is more dangerous if a woman is pregnant and the baby growing within her is the foreign object that the immune system is seeking to attack, potentially resulting not only in the death of the host, but the death of the baby. This is the chaos I'm talking about, but on a much more cosmic level. And we experience the chaos just in reading the gospel. There's so much happening all at one time. This hemorrhaging woman whose situation has rendered her totally unclean ritually, such that she's cut off from temple worship, and in that sense, cut off from God. But then, of course, there's Jairus' daughter who dies way too young. And the chaos of this entire scene, wisdom is saying to us, is not what God intended. And yet, this is now part and parcel of the human experience. So what is God's response? Jesus demonstrates in today's miracles that he has power over death in all of its forms. Spiritually, by rendering this unclean woman clean. Now she can go and worship in the temple. But physically, by raising Jairus' daughter back to life. This power perhaps is most clearly stated in the conversation with Martha the weeping sister of the recently deceased Lazarus. She runs up to him, and to her, Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. Do you believe this? He doesn't say, I have power to resurrect people. I am the resurrection and the life. And so what we discover is that the God recounted in wisdom, who did not make death, who does not delight in the destruction of the living, who made man to live forever, is standing right in front of that hemorrhaging woman. Is the God lifting up the hand of Jairus' daughter, and is the God who's calling Lazarus by name out of the tomb. This is God responding to death by showing us death does not have the last say. And this power over death, this God who is life, imparts that to us by giving us himself in the Eucharist. That's the whole idea. That's why Catholics are obsessed with this sacrament. It is the source and summit of our whole life, because it is the response to our death. Yes, I am going to die. I know this. There's no escaping it. But I stand before you today as a Catholic because I have come to believe that Jesus Christ has power over death, that he wills more for me than just oblivion, and that his answer to my death is coming down on that altar in the Eucharist. Isn't this what he promised? Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him on the last day. Do you believe that?